Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika
Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapat Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari
Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamane Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna
Krishna
Prishnaya
Krishnaya Bhota
Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate
Saraswati
Gauravani Prachari
Devi
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Radharama
Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6, Text 34. Ete varna swadharmena yajanti swagurum harim shraddha yatma vishuddhi artham yajjata savritti bihi. All these different social divisions are born with their occupational duties and living conditions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, for unconditional life and self-realization, one has to worship the Supreme Lord under the direction of the spiritual master. Since they are born from the different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord in his gigantic form, all living entities in all parts of the entire universe are supposed to be eternal servitors of the Supreme Body. Every part of our own body, such as the mouth, hands, thighs, and legs, is meant to render service to the whole. That is their constitutional position. In subhuman life, the living entities are not conscious of this constitutional position. But in the human form of life, they are supposed to know this through the system of the varnas, the social orders. So we saw how from different parts of the Virat Purush, the Brahmanas are made from the mouth, the Kshatriyas from the arms, the Vaishyas from the thighs, and the Shudras from the legs. So in human life, we are supposed to understand that we are supposed to render service to the Supreme Lord, just as the different parts of the body. If the legs say, I will do whatever I want to do. I'm not going to listen to for the benefit of the whole body. Then what will happen? It's a useless leg. If the hands say, I'm not going to function as you want me to function, why should I? Then it's a useless hand, right? So similarly, we have become useless if we are not connected with the Supreme Whole, with the Supreme Lord. So we need to connect ourselves back. And that is what this human life is all about. In animal life, we cannot understand this. As above mentioned, the Brahmana is the spiritual master of all the orders of society, and thus Brahmanical culture, culminating in the transcendental service of the Lord, is the basic principle for purifying the soul. So Brahmanical culture is very important. Krishna, that's why he's known as Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Krishna is always seeking like cow protecting. He's always protecting the cows and the Brahmanas. Brahmanical culture is very, very central to human life. And now in Kali Yuga, they both are degraded. So what do? But we have to somehow or the other connect ourselves, chant the Hare Krishna. And then these Brahmanical qualities will develop. Gradually, they will develop. In conditioned life, the soul is under the impression that he can become the Lord of the universe. And the last point of this misconception is to think oneself the supreme. So right now we are thinking that I can control, everything should happen according to me. You know, in our mind, we can create a very perfect picture. I want to do this should be the circumstance, and everybody should do whatever I'm telling them to do. And that's a perfect thing. It means what? We want to control everything. We want to become the Lord of the universe. Yeah, that each of us in this material world is trying to do that. And what is the last point of this trying to become the Lord is that we start thinking that I am God. Right now I have forgotten I'm God, but once I give up the body, I will become God. The foolish conditioned soul does not take into account that the Supreme cannot be conditioned by Maya or illusion. If the Supreme were to become conditioned by illusion, where would be his supremacy? In that case, Maya or illusion would be the Supreme, right? If somebody thinks, oh, I'm not God now, but after I give up this body, then I will become God. Right now I have forgotten I'm God. That means Maya is God, that means, right? That means Maya is greater, you know? So again, then what's the meaning of God then? That means then Maya is God, but then Maya is not God. Therefore, because the living entities are conditioned, they cannot be supreme. The actual position of the conditioned soul is explained in this verse. All the conditioned souls are impure due to contact with the material energy in three modes of nature. Therefore, it is necessary that they purify themselves under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master who not only is a Brahmana by qualification, but must also be a Vaishnava. So what is our condition right now? Or what is our condition is right now we are in this material world, in this material energy. That is our fact. That is our position right now. And then because we are in this material nature, what's happening is we are under this modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And we have a lot of material desires, which are being fulfilled by the facility of this goodness, passion, and ignorance by this material nature. Material nature is facilitating our material desires. So that is our position right now. Now what to do? We want to go back. We want to understand the absolute truth. Yeah, if we want to actually understand the absolute truth, but so for example, as we want to look out the window, but we cannot see clearly because the window is dirty. What we have to do? We have to clean the window. So that means right now our consciousness has become dirty because of this material atmosphere, because of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we are not able to understand the absolute truth. Then what do we have to do? We have to approach a bona fide spiritual master. What is the qualification of a bona fide spiritual master? That he's not only a Brahmana, not that he is Brahman realized, you know, not only he is Brahman realized, but he must be a Vaishnava. And who's a Vaishnava? Is a pure devotee of the Lord. Is a pure devotee of Krishna is called Vaishnava. A pure devotee of Lord Vishnu is called Vaishnava. So the only self-purifying process mentioned herein is to worship the Lord under the recognized method, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. Now, we can see now in this Kali Yuga, we have so many different paths. You know, everybody says my path is the best. I have found my path and that is my best path, and that's going to give me salvation, mukti, liberation, moksha, whatever. It's going to give me the Brahman platform. What does Bhagavatam say? Bhagavatam says that the only self-purifying process, the only way to purify is to worship the Lord. How? Under the recognized method, means not somebody who's making up the process by themselves. It is not whimsical that, oh, I think this is the way we can go back to Godhead. I think this is the way we can get purified. No, it has to be recognized from with all the pure devotees. And how? Under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. If we really want to understand the absolute truth, this is the way to do it. That is a natural way of purification, and no other method is recommended as bona fide. The other methods of purification may be helpful to come to this stage of life, but ultimately one has to come to this last point before he attains actual perfection. Bhagavad Gita 7.19 confirms this truth as follows. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabhaha. After many, many births and deaths, one who is actually in knowledge understands me to be Vasudev, that he has to surrender to me. And such a great soul is very rare. So Krishna is saying that people who are on the Gyan Marg, who are trying to get knowledge, what happens after many, many deaths? Bahunam janmanam ante. Many, many births and deaths. One who is actually situated in knowledge, then he will come to the point of knowing that Lord Krishna is the greatest and I need to surrender to him. And then such a living entity, such a soul is very, very rare. Sa Mahatma, he becomes a Mahatma once he comes to the point that I have to surrender to Krishna. And then Sudurlabha, very rare. So we can see how rare it is to become a devotee of Krishna. But we have to come to that point if we want to attain perfection. Till the time we don't come to that point, we will be still here in the material sphere in our different, with our different philosophies, different speculations, you know. So then let us try to take up this process with firm faith, with determination. Why should we wait for another life to take up? Why should we wait for many, many other lives to take up such things? Let us, if we have to come to this point, then let us come to this point right away, instead of waiting for many, many lifetimes. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
So text 35, Etat Shatar Bhagavato Deva Karmatma Rupinaha Kashraddhayad Upakartum Yoga Maya Balodayam. O Vidur, who can estimate or measure the transcendental time, work, and potency of the gigantic form manifested by the internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So, here Maitreya is speaking to Vidur. This is all what Maitreya has been speaking to Vidura, giving him the knowledge. The French philosopher go on with the mental statements on the.
There's disturbance and we can't hear you.
Oh, really?
Oh, now, okay.
Oh, you're able to hear me? Okay.
It's quite soft, though.
Oh, really? Oh, is it soft for everyone?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
What happened suddenly? I'm not sure what happened. Oh, let me see. Hare Krishna, is it better now?
No.
Better, but soft.
Yeah. And now, is that better?
Little better. Yeah.
Oh,
I think we just manage.
Yeah, little better.
okay. Okay, sorry about that. So the froggish philosophers may go on with their mental speculations on the subject matter of the Virat, the gigantic form exhibited by the Yoga Maya internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But factually, no one can measure such a vast exhibition. So many people, they like to speculate about the universal form, universal energy. I don't know if you all have heard. Oh, that's the energy coming from the universe. It is the power of the universe. So somebody can keep on speculating on this universal power or universal energy, but they can't know him in fact. We cannot understand Krishna by our mental speculation. We can't, because the mind is so limited. How can we try to understand the unlimited by this limited, imperfect mind? The mind itself can make us think so many wrong things. In our own experience we've had. At least I have had this experience. I might think something and think it's really the truth, you know. But after some time I realized, oh my God, how foolish I was. How did I think such a thing to be true? So in the Bhagavad Gita 11.16, Arjuna, the recognized devotee of the Lord, says, Aneka bahudara vaktra netram pashyami tvam sarvato anantarupam nantam na madhyam na punastavadim pashyami vishveshvara vishvarupa. Oh my Lord, oh gigantic Vishwarup form, oh Master of the universe, I see innumerable hands, bodies, mouths and eyes in all directions, and they are all unlimited. I cannot find the end of this manifestation, nor do I see the middle, nor the beginning. This is when Arjuna was seeing the universal form. Krishna showed him this Vishwarup. So Bhagavad Gita was specifically spoken to Arjuna, and the Vishwarup was exhibited before him at his request. He was awarded the specific eyes to see this Vishwarup. Yet, although he was able to see the Lord's innumerable hands and mouths, he was unable to see him completely. Since Arjuna was unable to estimate the length and breadth of the potency of the Lord, who else would be able to do so? So the universal form that Krishna showed to Arjuna was so unlimited that Arjuna was, even though Arjuna got special vision, Krishna gave him special vision to see it. But although he got this special vision, he still could not understand where it's beginning and where it's ending. So one may only indulge in miscalculation like the frog philosopher. The frog philosopher wanted to estimate the length and breadth of the Pacific Ocean by his experience of a well 3 cubic feet large. And thus he began to puff himself up to become as big as the Pacific Ocean. But at last he burst and died by this process. The story is applicable to the mental philosophers who, under the illusion of the Lord's external energy, indulge in estimating the length and breadth of the Supreme Lord. So if we try to just mentally speculate, oh, I think God should be like this, I think God must be like this, we are trying to fit God into our limited mind frame. You know, it's our own mental idea of how God should be. And that is not a correct way to understand God. That's not the correct way to understand what's the absolute truth. If I say that the truth should be like this, then how is it the truth? That's only my perception of the truth. The best path is to become a cool-headed, submissive devotee of the Lord. Try to hear about the Lord from the bona fide spiritual master and thus serve the Lord in transcendental loving service as suggested in the previous verse. So if we really want to understand the absolute truth, we should try to become submissive to a pure devotee. Hear from him submissively, follow his instructions. And what is the instruction? Engage in Bhakti Yoga, engage in devotional service, which begins with hearing and chanting. Chant the Hare Krishna mantra, hear from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Is that okay? Anybody wanted to add anything to what we just read?
No, unclear.
Yeah. Okay. So, tathapi kirtayami anga yatham mati yathashrutam kirtim hare swam satkartum giram anya bidhasatin. In spite of my inability, whatever I have been able to hear from the spiritual master and whatever I could assimilate, I am now describing in glorification of the Lord by pure speech, for otherwise my power of speaking would remain unchaste. Now, this is the way that we should hear this transcendental knowledge from the bona fide source, from the spiritual master, and then realize it and describe it. Whatever we hear, we speak that. We don't change or misinterpret. This is what Maitreya Muni is also saying this is doing. And he's saying just by speaking the glories of the Lord, his speech has become, his power of speaking has become purified, because he's chanting the glories. Purification of the conditioned soul is purification of the soul.
I can't hear you.
Oh, really? Wow. I don't know. Here my microphone is
Now,
it's
now we can hear you, but in between again it just went off. It
oh,
faded.
I'm not sure if it's the internet or if it's the microphone, because my microphone is showing perfect work functioning.
Okay, okay, continue. Yeah, now we can hear.
Sure, sorry about that.
No, no.
So it's already 7:29. Do you all have the time to continue, or you all want to stop here?
Actually, yeah, I'll have to
I
leave.
think we can do it tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll stop here. We'll stop here then. Thank you so much for joining in. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Wishing everyone a happy Diwali, and please,
Very happy.
sorry for all the
Diwali, Shilpa Ji.